was, well, it's not really a breach. To call it a breach is not correct. Okay, let's say this is only impacting you if you have an iPhone or an iPad or any Apple device, okay? The way this worked is if there was a person, for example, you have FaceTime, right? FaceTime is a function on the Apple device that allows you to connect with another person's Apple device and have a video chat. Remember back in the day, like I remember in the 90s, like someday we'll have these boxes, it'll be like video telephones and the phone will ring and you'll go in and you'll sit in front of the video telephone and talk. I mean, it's kind of weird because it was close to that, but not quite that, okay? So with FaceTime, you have your iPhone and you activate FaceTime and you can call another iPhone or iPad. It's only Apple device to Apple device. And once you contact that person's device, then all of a sudden you can see them, hear them, interact with them. All right, so there's a bug that was found last week. Now, if you've been listening to the news, you've already heard all about this. But there was a bug that was found last week that if you have an Apple iTunes device or an Apple device with FaceTime enabled. So first of all, you can disable FaceTime. You can turn it off so that no one can FaceTime. And that's what everybody is recommending you do right now, because if you don't deactivate your FaceTime, what can happen is I have an Apple device and I call you on FaceTime. And then while I'm calling you, and you can do this, you can actually test this out. You know, you can snoop in on your husband or your wife's device. We were doing it in the service center and it works perfectly. But you basically call someone on FaceTime, you attempt to add another person to the conversation like you're trying to do a three-way call. For those of you who are before the FaceTime generation, they used to call that a three-way call. And then if the person you're calling declines, let's say they say, I don't want to talk to you right now, or if they push the volume down button or silence their phone in any way, it automatically activates the camera on the phone. So you can see everything their camera can see. Now, let me posit a scenario. Not that anyone would ever take their phone with them into the bathroom when they're planning to stay for a little while, if you know what I mean. We're going to keep it clean here for the family show, you know. So a person is in the bathroom, let's say, and somebody decides they want to FaceTime this person, so they call them on FaceTime. That would be a really inopportune time to answer a FaceTime call. You know, it's bad enough when you hear the flush in the background when you're talking to somebody, but to actually see them push the lever and flush it, that's a whole nother level of not cool, right? So you decline the FaceTime call because you have a modicum of self-respect for yourself as well as the person you're speaking with. Unfortunately, when you decline the FaceTime call, it activates your camera. Whoops. Yeah, that's bad. And there are other scenarios. I mean, you can look these up online if you want to play around with it. There's other scenarios online where you can activate the camera and the microphone. So you can get all that going there. But the bottom line is this is the worst privacy faux pas in history, of the history of smartphone devices, because it doesn't require any technical knowledge to do it. It is easy, it is repeatable, and it is effective. Who else uses an iPhone to send, like, you know, tweets and stuff? Oh yeah, the president does. Well, I suppose you could try to FaceTime like at the real Donald Trump. I wonder if he answers. Does he just sit there all day and decline FaceTimes? I mean, how many video streams are streaming from that phone right now? I'm just saying. So, with all this said, there is an update coming. Now, this is either... honestly, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole on this one, but this is brilliant. Because if you have an old Apple device, you can't install updates anymore. Because the old 16 gig devices don't have enough storage capacity to install the update, and you can't get an external storage, you know, device for the iPhone, so you're just stuck, right? There's an update coming to fix this FaceTime bug problem. It's update 12.1.4. It's going to be coming out in the next few days. When this update is released, you really, really need to install this update. It's going to fix this problem. It is a rushed update out of Apple, so that probably means it'll cause a second problem. But, and I'm not about, same thing from Microsoft, right? I mean, how many Microsoft bugs have we had with their updates lately? So it's a rush patch. This is a thing they didn't know existed. Somebody just discovered it. Could you imagine being the first guy that discovers this and like, dude, like, she declined my call, but I've only been calling her like every 4 hours, and she declined. So I said, I'm going to FaceTime her. And she declined my FaceTime, man. and then I could see her. It was creepy weird, man. I mean, who was the first guy that figured this out, right? Or did like the intelligence agencies know about this for like a year, and they've just been like, FaceTiming dictators around the country, like, hey, look, it's Maduro. There he is. Hey, hi, Maduro. What are you doing right now? Can we get a lip reader in here? We can only see the video. So as you can imagine, this is a big deal. So update 12.1.4. 12.1.4 is the update you're going to want to get for your phone or your tablet. It's the iOS update, so it's not an update for your Mac or anything like that. This is an update for the phone, for iOS. So Android, or not Android. Okay, so if you have an Android phone, you're clear, you're good to go. This is only for iOS devices. So 12.1.4 is coming. If your device will not install 12.1.4, you have two options. You can go out and get yourself a new device that'll install 12.1.4, which is sure what Apple would love to see you do. Or two, you can simply disable FaceTime in the settings. You can go into your settings on your device and you can disable FaceTime. So the downer is this is a signature feature of the iPhone and the iPad. This is one of the things that makes this stuff worthwhile. On the other hand, if you disable it, well, you're losing that signature feature, but at least you're secure and people can't just like automatically. I mean, imagine if you're going to bed. And I don't want to talk to somebody right now, so you decline the FaceTime call. And it opens up a camera in your bedroom. It's not cool. And, it's the front-facing camera, too. So, if there's cameras on both sides. You can't even turn the thing over anymore so the camera is not looking up at you. 866-492. That's the number to join us on the program today. We can ask a question, make a comment. We'll get you in the drawing. Also, for those of you who were following last month, this is our 20th anniversary. This is the 20th year that Schrock Innovations has been helping people with their technology and their computers. And a lot has changed over 20 years. I'll give you an example. We signed a lease for our Lincoln Service Center 10 years ago that gave us exclusivity in our strip mall on fixing computers, right? So yay, can't have any other computer shops come in here and compete with us in our own strip mall, which is considered, normal for most real estate developments. Smartphones weren't really a thing then. So there was nothing in our lease agreement about it. So a smartphone repair store opened up a few doors down. And now we can't fix smartphones. Same way they can't compete with us in computers, we can't fix smartphones in our Lincoln Service Center. Well, we're not supposed to advertise that we fix smartphones. We're not supposed to say, yeah, gee, we can fix your smartphone or your tablet very easily at Schrock Innovations in Lincoln. No, we're not supposed to say that, we don't keep any parts on hand right now for that, but we can order the part, get it usually in a day to two, and get it fixed for you and give you that same level of great Schrock service that you're used to with your computer on your mobile devices. No, we can't say that, you see? No, we can't say that. But once we're looking at possibly moving that Lincoln Service Center, so heads up on that. If we disappear sometime mid-year from the corner of 27th and Pine Lake Road in Lincoln, it's not because the oldest original Schrock Innovations has moved or has gone out of business. We just moved about a mile away. And of course, we're going to have a huge marketing promotion around it, free giveaway stuff, all kinds of things to get you to come into that Lincoln shop and find us in the new location. We got to undo 10 years of learning. That's something you do in one episode of Compute This. But it just gives you an idea of how fast things change. Well, one of the things that's changed in computers is the mechanical hard drive is dying. It's dying. Lots of your mechanical hard drives are dying, according to Drive Advisor, almost a third of them. But the new computers are starting to not come with these mechanical hard drives anymore. They're coming with solid-state hard drives. The solid-state hard drive is an amazing piece of technology. It is 6 times less likely to fail. It is 10 times faster than your mechanical hard drive. It can take an old, slower computer and make it feel brand new again, just by changing out one piece of hardware with some new piece of technology that's compatible with almost every single old computer out there. It's an upgrade dream come true. And so in the month of January, we put them on sale at Schrock. We sold over 1,000 solid-state hard drives in a month. We were cloning hard drives like nobody's business. It was constant, and it was amazing. Like, literally, we would run out of solid states. So, we started the sale. I ordered like 40 or 60 to each service center, figuring that would be good for the month, We blew through those in the first week. And then we had people waiting. They brought their computer in, and they're like, Thor, we don't have any solid states. So I order more. It takes a couple days to get them, right? And so I order more. So I'll order another 60, I guess, to each shop. And then, boom. Then each shop, like, they would call each other. Lincoln would call Omaha, hey, do you have any solid states? Yeah, you have a lot of 120s. Can you send like 5 of them to us? And so then all of a sudden there were hard drives moving between the 3 shops. So then when the new orders would come in, all the order quantities were off because they were swapping drives basically. And then it was like they had to swap them back the other way. And so finally I just said, in mid-month, I said, enough of this. And I ordered 120 hard drives to each location, right? Said, they're your hard drives. You're good, right? This should get us through the end of the month. Oh no. Everybody told their friends, you see, that came in the first 2 weeks, and all their friends came in the second 2 weeks. And so, something that we thought was going to be like 60 hard drives ended up being 180 hard drives roughly, so 60 per location, ended up being 10 times bigger than what we thought it was going to be. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. We get a lot of old computers out there, are a lot faster. A lot of Mac Minis, which are no fun to take apart, are, Super Mac Minis now. A lot of iMacs got new hard drives put in them. A lot of MacBook Pros got upgraded. And of course, any assortment of PC, from an all-in-one to a laptop to, what? People keep telling us that the desktop is dead. The majority of computers that we actually installed solid states in were desktops, believe it or not. The majority. Whether it was we're considering the Mac Mini a desktop because it doesn't have a built-in screen. Whether it was a Mac Mini, whether it was an iMac, which is technically an all-in-one, but it's a desktop, the all-in-one HPs, and then of course Schrock modular computers. Going back, we saw computers that we built for customers back in 2010, 2012, coming back in for the solid-state upgrade. And we're like, wow, this computer is doing amazingly well, and now it is literally as fast as a brand new Schrock modular computer is. It was just mind-boggling to be able to do that for customers and have them do that at such an agreeable price. So if you missed out on that sale, I'm sorry, it's over. We gave everybody a few days grace period because we got the panic calls, of course, we expected on the 1st. Oh no, it's the 1st. I can't find it on the website. Where did it go? Well, it was a January sale. There's a new sale in February, but this is the January sale for the 20th anniversary. And so now my staff has strict orders as of Monday. Now, this is Monday, February 4th, okay? So if you're hearing this show delayed a week, Monday, February 4th, we are no longer doing solid-state upgrades on the sale price. So if you did miss this and you did want to sneak in and try to get this, my staff has discretion to give the sale to people who come in or bring their computers in today. But this is one of those times where we got to draw the line somewhere, guys. And it's already 4 days past. So you have to bring it in today. If you missed out on this all month long before, it's going on all month. But it's not available on the website anymore. You can't call in to buy it. You must bring your computer in today. Today, all 3 shops are open from noon until 5 o'clock. Today. This is Sunday. Noon to 5. We're there. Okay? So, now that that's over with, you might ask yourself, what, pray tell, is the February offer for the grandest 20th year anniversary sale ever? Well, here we go. This is a customer request, actually. We've never put these on sale before. And I have some stories to tell you from the solid-state upgrade experience. We had customers come in with computers wanting the solid-state upgrade whose hard drives were in a failure state and they didn't know it. Well, we had customers, and we got in a rhythm, right? We were just cloning and cloning and cloning. And then the guys, got a stiff reminder when they went to clone one person's drive and the drive failed. Their original drive, their source drive, failed. It didn't clone, and then the drive died. And I'm like, well, you guys did test the drive first, did you not? And this is one of my shops. And the guys, they're kind of sheepishly like, well, we have a lot of clones to do. I'm like, you still got to test them. You got to test them all, guys. And so as a result, we ended up getting this customer's information back for him. But it underscored the need for backup hard drives. It underscored the absolute need. The stories that I heard this week, people who are storing things on external hard drives as primary storage. That means you buy an external hard drive and you're using that to save your important photos and your videos and your files rather than saving them in your computer. Some people believe that slows the computer down. It doesn't. You can fill that whole filing cabinet full, it won't run any slower. Until it's full. If you can't shut the drawer, that's going to slow you down a little bit. But you can save your stuff in your computer. That's the safest place for your stuff to live, is inside your computer on the hard drive. Then you use the external hard drives to back up those files too. So here's the thing. Everybody knows you're supposed to back up your stuff. Everybody knows. Why is it only 10% of us actually do it? Why do only 10% of you have a second copy of all of your files? So that if something goes wrong, we can recover from that, or you can recover from that. Well, number one, how do you do a backup? In the past, it's been very technically daunting. So you have to get another piece of hardware, and you have to hook it up, and you have to program it and set it up, and then you got to make sure the backup runs, and if the computer's off, it doesn't run, and it doesn't make it up. So how do you know your backup is real? How do you test a backup? How do you look at the files to see if they're there? Well, you can't look at the files. Well, then how do I know my backup worked? So here's what we're going to do. Backup hard drives are all half off at Schrock in the month of February. I'm going to give you all the details, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to set up your backup hard drive. And those of you who are doing backups who think you're oh so hot stuff right now, your backups may not be working. And I'm going to tell you why the old Windows 7 backup that we used to love at Schrock is no longer working for Windows 10 users. So stay tuned, guys. We've got to take a quick break here. When we come back, Dale, your call will be next on Compute This. All right, guys, so we are on phone camera thing here. That's why everything is backwards, and that's why you're not going to be able to hear the callers on the show. The trade-off here is you will be able to see and hear everything that happens during the commercial breaks, okay? So, you know, sometimes we get into interesting discussions here during commercial breaks. Sometimes it's not fit for radio. That's why it happens during the commercial break, right? You also get this weird angle where you're looking up at me like I'm... Oh. I look thinner at this angle, I think. Put on a few pounds in the last year. That's not cool. All right. So I'm going to pop this open here. And I apologize, there's no description for the video today. The video, apparently you can't rotate the camera when you're in live video mode. So I had the camera upright and I typed everything in and I hit start live video. And then I turned it and set it on the kickstand. And it said you can't do that. So when it went live, I was vertical. So I would have to hold my phone like a candy bar all day, and that, you know, you get out of frame and everything, it's not going to work out. The only thing that's bad about having it this way is I talk with my hands a lot, and when I bring my hands up into the frame, it focuses on my fingers and kind of bokehs the rest of me. Like I go out of focus a little bit. So I'll try to keep my hands down so that it doesn't do that. We really need to we need to put a KFAB streaming Facebook, just a computer in here simply for streaming Facebook. Because I mean, you guys have room for another monitor, right? See, I don't know. See, trying to reconnect, we lost our video connection there for a moment. So some people have said last week everybody said that the video was fuzzy, it wasn't working right. So this is a lower quality camera. This is a phone camera, so it's lower quality than the one we're using on the computer normally. I am testing whether it was a fuzziness because of the camera on the computer or because of the internet. So right now we are on LTE. So if there's a delay between the speech and the video, sometimes you just have to reopen the program to fit that fixed, or close the stream and open it again. All right, here we go. Alrighty, guys, welcome back into Compute This. My name's Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovation Computer Company, where external hard drives are on special for the month of February, and it's not your daddy's external hard drive, all right? So, external hard drives come in a lot of flavors. Those of you who just got a solid-state upgrade probably got a hard drive, most of you did, that was 500 gigabytes or smaller. So your backup hard drive can be 500 gigabytes or smaller. You don't have to buy a mammoth 2 or 3 terabyte hard drive to do your backups. So these are the modular storage devices. These are the ones that we made. We introduced these about 2 years ago. They're 45% faster than Seagate or Western Digital external hard drives, so your backups complete very quickly. They have extra padding inside the enclosure to make sure that the drive doesn't rattle. It makes the mechanical drives last longer. But most importantly, these enclosures are perfect for doing backups. And if you purchase one of these enclosures from us, we will set your backup up for free. We will do it for you. We will run the first backup. And then if your hard drive ever fails, if Drive Advisor says, oh, your C drive is failing, and you can bring that external in, and because you have one of our external devices, we will restore your backup for free. So you got to pay to fix your computer, but we will restore all your files for free, which normally costs an extra hour of labor, $110. So, with all that in mind, a 500 gig external hard drive, normally $100 at Schrock, on sale for $50. That's right. These are in stock in all 3 service centers. You can also buy them, by the way, on the website at SchrockInnovations.com. $50. Now, if you want the 1 terabyte model, normally $150, on sale for $75. That's cheaper than you can buy it at the box store. Now, here's where things get silly. Let's say you want to put an external hard drive on your computer, but you want it to be 6 times more reliable than a regular hard drive, and you want it to be 45% faster or even faster than a Samsung drive. You can get a solid state external. That's right, you can get a solid state external hard drive to back up your stuff to. So if you bounce it off the desk, it doesn't hurt it. If the cat runs by and knocks everything off, dog gets a tail caught in a cord, and everything goes flying, that solid state hard drive hits the floor, the impact doesn't bother it. A mechanical hard drive, that's probably the leading cause of recovery in our data recovery lab, are people who have external mechanical hard drives that get bounced off the floor. So we can put these in there, and here's the best part, they're half off. So if you want if you got the 120 gig solid state during the special, and you wanted to back up to, you want a drive that's twice as big, that's a 240. Normally a 240 external is $225. Right now it's half off for $112.50. That is for a solid state external hard drive. And they go all the way up, guys. You can see all the prices on our website. This sale is going to be different from the last one, because the last one we actually had to do like some labor stuff. Like we had to clone your hard drive. You had to come in and drop your computer off. This one's totally different. You can buy them right off the website. You can pick them up in the service center. We'll call you if it's a 500 gigabyte or a 1 terabyte. We have those in stock. The mechanical ones. The solid states we're building on demand because we're still filling orders for solid state people who came in on the 31st or yesterday. So I don't want to promise that we have them on hand, but we're going to endeavor to have them on hand. So you can buy on the website at SchrockInnovations.com. You click on Shop and Specials, and you can pick up these externals for half off. We will then set up your hard drive for you, and we can do this over the Schrock desk. So you don't have to, you come in and pick it up, take it home. You don't have to bring your computer in. If you're outside of our immediate listening area, you can have these drives shipped to you, and then we can do a Schrock desk with you to set up the backup. It's super easy to do, and we're going to tell you how to check your backup as well to make sure that it's running the way you want it running here coming up in a moment. 866-496-8772. Dale, you're first up on the show today. How can I help you on Compute This? Good morning. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
Repeat this. Can I get your name, please? What was that again? Deborah.
Okay.
Deborah, what's your phone number? Okay, and Deborah, what did you want to talk about today?
Yep. So basically, yeah, XP. Wow, the good old days. So here's the thing with the restore points. With System Restore, you can either have it on or you can have it off. There's no in between. It's either working or it's not. And then lots of software programs will actually call for system restore points. So we do this when we install software on your computer. When you install like Secure Updater, for example, before it starts doing an install, it fires off a system restore point. And the reason for that is something goes wrong, we can roll it back. When you do a Windows update, it creates a restore point every time automatically. So there's no. Yeah, it did, and there's no way to stop that from happening, unfortunately. So right, you. Gotcha. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's trying to manage the amount of hard drive space that's being taken up by updates. So it's going to delete the old ones basically as it creates new ones. It only keeps a certain number of them, whether they're manually or automatically created. The idea being that saying if the user wants a manual system restore point, the reason you want a manual system restore point is to restore when you're monkeying with something. And so after you're done monkeying, you shouldn't. If you wait a week, well, you're not going to be able to restore it anymore. So unfortunately, like I said, system restore is either on or it's off. They've taken away some of the ability to granularly manage those system restore points like what you used to have in Windows XP to actually make the user experience a little more smooth, a little easier, because the vast majority of people don't even think about a system restore point. Like the only time you ever think about it is when your computer blue screens and reboots and it says, do you want to restore from a restore point? And you're like, what's that? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I have these restore points on my hard drive, and you don't even know they're there in a little hidden partition somewhere. Thank you for the call, Dale. I appreciate your patience. Unfortunately, they took that functionality from you because they do think they're smarter than you. 866-496-8772. Stay on the line. We got to take a break. Ed and Deborah, your calls, as well as how to do a backup and how to check your backup to make sure it is current. Coming up next on Compute This. It's exciting stuff. Woo! My backup, baby. It's current. Guys, I struggle with this, okay? Because it's like this. I have to try to make that sound exciting, okay? But it's not exciting. It's really boring, actually, until your hard drive dies. And then when your hard drive dies, you're like, oh, sweet Mother Mary, please tell me my backup is good. One of the things with Drive Advisor, when you have Drive Advisor, it goes through and monitors drives on your computer, including your external. And so if your C drive goes bad, if you're a Schrock customer who's been on the bench in the service center, we'll actually call you and say, hey, your computer's C drive is going bad. You need to get it in so we can look at it, especially if it's under warranty. And you've never seen Schrock and you don't know who we are, and you install Drive Advisor, we're not going to call you to tell you your hard drive's going bad. That'd be kind of creepy, right? We don't even have your phone number at that point, because the only reason Drive Advisor never gets sucked out to promotional stuff, to spam, or like to the Hotmail thing. So okay, so we are getting a couple video interruptions here, and it looks like it takes over again. I'm looking at mine right now. It says video has interrupted. Broadcast has been paused and should resume shortly. We're on LTE, so that's why it's struggling a little bit.
I can't remember. I thought I stashed that.
I have it saved in my computer, but not in my phone. So the phone isn't on the Wi-Fi.
I'll see if I can.
Yeah. All right. I'll go in here and answer some questions while we're chilling out.
Virginia's embattled governor backpedals and says he was not in that controversial racist yearbook photo after all, and he will not quit.
I took an oath to uphold this office and serve the people of this Commonwealth to the best of my ability. As long as I believe I can effectively fulfill that task, I intend to continue doing the business of Virginia.
Democrat Ralph Northam in a Saturday press conference pushing back against a growing chorus of many in his own party who are telling him to resign. With an eye on the February 15th deadline to come up with a border security plan or risk another government shutdown, there are some Democrats who say they're in agreement with their GOP brethren.
There's a robust bipartisan tradition of supporting border security. I don't think you'll see that change. A lot of us want to move on to real subjects.
New York Representative Sean Maloney on Fox and Friends. This is Fox News.
Now, the News Radio 1110 KFAB Weather Watch.
Patchy dense fog continues across the area this morning with a dense fog advisory in effect till noon. Otherwise, cloudy skies and patchy drizzle will continue throughout the day with temperatures climbing to around 55 degrees this afternoon. Overnight, clouds and drizzle continue. Temperatures falling to around 32 by morning. Temperatures continue to drop on Monday behind a cold front. With Omaha's most accurate.
Here we go.
6 News First Alert, David Keller on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back into Compute This. My name is Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company. Schrock Innovations has 3 locations that can help you out when your computer's not working right, when you need help setting up your backup, for example, or if you need to upgrade your computer to a solid-state hard drive. We can help you out and do those things for you. Our original location is on 27th and Pine Lake Road in Lincoln, then Omaha, 168th and Burke. Also in Papillion on 84th and Highway 370. We are planning an expansion into the Des Moines market soon, so if you're listening on WHO in Des Moines, welcome aboard. You can also interact with Schrock through our website, SchrockInnovations.com, where you can, for example, purchase these external hard drives. Also, you can get help on the Schrock Desk at schrockdesk.com. You have to have a code, obviously, so you call us in the service centers, and then we give you a code, and we can connect with you over the internet. It's all very secure. 866-496-8772. We're going to tell you how to check your backups here in a moment, but before we get to that, Ed, welcome to the program. How can I help you today on Compute This?
Compute This, can we get your name, please?
Yes.
Craig. Okay. Okay, Craig,
Okay.
what's your phone number? And what do you want to talk about today, Craig?
Yep, great question.
Downloading the pictures?
So here's the interesting thing. This is what we're going to talk about in backups here in a minute. So what you're saying is, basically, if you have a backup, if you get a ransomware infection, if something infects your computer that encrypts everything on your hard drive and demands a Bitcoin ransom to get your stuff back, why couldn't you just restore everything from the backup, right? And you could do that as long as, see, when you get infected with the ransomware, it doesn't pop up on the screen immediately and say, you're infected. It encrypts everything on your hard drive before it does that. Then it pops up on the screen. So if your backup drive should be hooked up to your computer at all times. So it's gonna encrypt your backup drive too, because it's good like that. Yes, and you don't realize what's happening. Now, the second question you asked was great, because the old Windows 7 backup, which is what we used to recommend for everybody, would create an image of your hard drive that you could restore. So it was a perfect image. It included all files, the Windows operating system, all your drivers. If your hard drive died and you had one of these backups, we could literally restore that image, and it was like nothing ever happened. It was like just like the computer looked that moment in time. The problem is that was designed for an era when your Windows 7 computer didn't continually get software updates like they do now. So, for example, if you get Windows 10 every 6 months, you get a new version of Windows 10, want it or not. It gets downloaded to your computer. And what we found is if you have Windows 10 and you have the Windows 7 backup enabled, it works great as long as you're restoring the version of Windows that you have right now back. In other words, let's say you did the update, you started the update 3 years ago, and it's been continually updating ever since. The image that you're saving right now will not restore because it is not the current version of Windows 10, if that makes sense. You can't restore the files from it. Yeah, you can't. It's almost worthless. You can mount it. We can mount it as a separate backup, and we found this out during the solid state sale, actually, because we had a customer whose hard drive blew up on the bench, and they said, well, I have a backup. And we tried to restore their backup, and we were like, why won't this restore? And we figured out it depends on what version of Windows 10 we started with. If we put in version 1809 and then tried to install a backup that was originally started at version 1709, it wouldn't restore. So as a result, we are changing our recommendation to you should do the file history backup now. Now the difference between the file history backup and the backup like what we used to recommend is there's no image. It's just the files. But the nice, oh yeah, a lot of people are. A lot of people are. But the problem is, when you go to restore that, you're not going to be able to. If you had, let's say you bought a brand new Windows 10 computer today, and you did a Windows 7 backup today. The next Windows 10 update is coming out in April. You could, if your hard drive failed between now and April, you'd be able to restore it just fine. But if your hard drive failed in June, you would not be able to restore your backup at all anymore. That's right. File history backup. So the way you do this in your Windows 10, now first of all, you have to turn off your Windows 7 backup because there's no point in doing a Windows 7 backup if it's not going to work. And then you want to format your external hard drive because there's no point in keeping the backups if they're not going to work. So blast all that stuff. Clean up, clean slate. Then it's super easy to set this up, actually. You click on Start in the lower left-hand corner, and you click on that gear for the control panels. And, yep, in Settings. And then if you scroll down, there's let me do this with you here because I'm shooting from memory and I'll get in trouble here. So you scroll all the way down to the bottom. It says Update and Security. I know it doesn't say backup, but hang with me. Update and Security. And then on the far left side, there's a menu bar, and one of the things there is backup. And there's a switch. And it's like, automatically back up my files. And it's either off by default or on. You click on, and when it's on, it backs. And you can specify how often you want it to back it up. The default setting is every hour. Every hour, right? That's pretty crazy. You could set it up to be real time if you wanted to. I would not recommend doing that if you don't have a solid state modular backup drive. It's not fast enough. It'll slow your computer down if you do that with a regular Seagate or something like that. So basically, you just go into this backup thing and you flip the switch. And it'll ask you what drive you want to back up to. You select your external hard drive. Important because you can back up more often then. Because it's not going to slow your computer down. The other nice thing about it is when you do your backups, if you use the file history backup and you have one of our modular enclosures, if your hard drive ever blows up on you, like what happened on the bench to some people during the solid state, your backup for free. So we'll restore all your files back for free. No charge for doing any of that. We'll even help you out with the programs because we're nice like that. Thank you very much for the call, Ed. I appreciate it. 866-4 on special for half off. And you can check out all the pricing at SchrockInnovations.com. That's SchrockInnovations.com. You click on Shop, and then you click on Specials. And it's going to show you all the pricing. You basically, there's an external hard drive there. You click on that, and on the right, there's a menu where you select. And then once you have the capacity selected, it'll tell you the price. But they start at $50, and they go up from there, but they're half off. So that includes all the solid-state models. So there is nowhere else that you're going to get a product equipped with a solid-state hard drive for the prices that we're charging for these solid-state hard drives. They are almost at cost because the drive itself is expensive, and then the enclosure, the modular enclosure that makes it fast, goes on top of it. And so it's like you're getting two products put together basically to make a unique product. So they're literally almost sold at cost. So you can check it out, SchrockInnovations.com. But here's the thing, guys. If you have the old Windows 7 backup, it's not going to work anymore. If we set your backup for you at any point in the last 5 years, up until 2019, if you have a holiday special, your backup is not working anymore. If you have a Venture that comes with the built-in safe and stored backup, you need to update that to use the file history backup. We're doing this on the bench as people come in for maintenance checkups. We're updating their backups to make sure that they're backing up properly. But, this is as we see them. So you need to do this yourself at home. Take a moment to do this with your backup device. And if you need help doing it, we can help you over the Schrock Desk. If you're a Schrock Desk subscriber, there's obviously no charge because you have unlimited support. And if you're not, it's an hour of labor for us to get on the Schrock Desk and do this. But if you purchase one of these backup drives from us, which is cheaper than an hour of labor, I might add, we will set up your backup for free. If you don't want to come into the service center, we can ship them to you. We can hold them in the service center if you want to call and buy over the phone. Some people are a little weird about buying things on the internet. If you're one of those people that doesn't like to do that, you can just call the service center and we can get one purchased and set aside for you. We're open today from noon until 5. 866-496-8772. Going to take another break here. This is the last one, right? Okay, we're going to take the last break, so then we have a lot of time here at the end because I got 3 calls stacked up. Deborah, Chuck, and Craig, your calls are all coming up next in Compute This. All right. Okay, could you type those instructions? Yes, but not while I'm talking. All right, I'm listening in Charlotte, and the show pixels, and I miss a lot. Yeah, it's pixeling here too, but I just realized it's because we're on the LTE connection. We're actually broadcasting over the air with cellular. We're not on the Wi-Fi, and I don't know the Wi-Fi password in here.
No, I can't. Did you see it?
No, it's not on the wall or anything. It's yeah. Anyway, it was at some point because I obviously put it in the laptop, but we're not using the laptop. So, all right. So here we go. To do a backup. And you guys, you don't have to freak out if you're still running Windows 7. To do the backup on Windows 10, this is what we're talking about. The backups on Windows 7 are still fine if you're running Windows 7, although you're going to have to get rid of Windows 7 before the end of the year. So, all right, to do a backup on Windows 10. And apparently you can't hit enter. Backup on Windows 10. Lower left corner, click on Start. Second step, click on the Settings gear. Third step, click on, I believe it was called, see, I want to make sure I get the words right, Update and Security. I just want to make sure I get the words right. Click on Update and Security. Step 4, click on Backup in the menu. Step 5, turn switch on. Step 6, select backup drive. And you're done. All right, so there it is, guys. I'm going to post this here. 5 easy steps, which is down 5 steps from Windows 7. It was 10 easy steps on Windows 7. So Windows 10 is 5 steps easier. All right, welcome back in, guys. During the commercial break on Facebook, we were going over the steps to set up this backup for you on your computer. And as I listed it out, it's 5 steps. And it just recurs to me. I remember we did a rack card back in the day when we had a physical card telling you how vitally important it was to back up your hard drive, and it was 10 easy steps back in the day. And we're down to 5. So you look at Windows 10 making your life easier, guys. Come on. 866-496-8772. Deborah, welcome to the program. How can I help you on Compute This today? No worries. Here's the thing with Carbonite is an off-site backup, so that's cool. Actually, it is an adequate backup. You're going to get the same file history backup that you would get with an external hard drive. It is off-site, so if your house burns to the ground, your Carbonite backup is there. The only thing that is touchy about Carbonite is it takes a long time to restore. So as long as you're not in a hurry when you go to restore your backup, you're going to be fine. So no, you do not need an external hard drive or an internal backup hard drive if you have Carbonite. Carbonite is a paid subscription, however, whereas the external hard drive is a one-time purchase that continues to work on and on and on for you. You have to keep paying for the Carbonite, and if you stop, they delete your files. Oh, absolutely. Any computer, whether it's a laptop or a desktop or a tablet. This is what people don't realize. Every device can fail. I had a customer come in and she explained to me how she had a separate flash drive for every category of her life. And she was very meticulously organized. She had one flash drive for photos and one for documents and this one for this and this one for that. But she only had one flash drive for each. And I said, well, you need to double the number of flash drives you have. And she looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, you have to have 2 of each one because you don't have a backup. And flash drives are even more likely to fail than external hard drives are. We do lots of flash drive recovery in the data recovery lab. And she thought because they were quote unquote solid state, that it's just like having a solid state hard drive. Flash drives are way different. They are not the same as the memory and solid state hard drives, guys. They're way more fragile, especially because a lot of them are produced really cheaply in China. They're sold with brand names on them, so you think you're buying something good, but in actuality, you're getting a really cheap Chinese flash drive. Especially if you use the ones that you get free from the drug companies or any promotional flash drive. If it has like, you know, like at Schrock, when we had our own flash drives made, the reason we haven't had that done again in a long time is because to get the really, really good ones, it was really expensive. And the problem was here we are selling flash drives for $50, and customers are like, well, I can get the same capacity flash drive at the checkout lane at Walgreens for like half of that. And you're like, well, yeah, but it's going to fail. And they're like, well, why? It was just a losing argument. It's one of those things where if you have to explain it, it just takes too long. So no, Carbonite is a great solution. It's a paid solution. So basically, if you're willing to pay the annual fee for Carbonite, and the other thing with Carbonite you have to be aware of, there are certain things that don't get backed up automatically. Any file over 2 gigabytes in size, so any video file is not going to get backed up automatically. You have to specifically add those files to the backup set. And any file that is not saved in your user directory. So if you save files loose on the C drive, for example, those files are not being backed up by Carbonite. So just a couple little things. Pay attention to the exclusions when you do an online backup, because they're not going to back up. They're going to back up as little as they can and still be called a backup. So just make sure that if you have video files, things like that, you have to include each individual video file in the backup set. All right, thank you, Deborah. Appreciate the call today. 866-496-8772. Chuck's next up on the program. You have a question about solid states, Chuck. How can I help you uncompute this? Oh no. If it was solid state, it was one of the very, very first generation solid states. And those solid states get a significant speed improvement by getting replaced with a mechanical hard drive. If they're still alive, those solid states tend to not last more than 5 years.
Okay, I didn't know that. The next question is, with your backup, we have an external backup we got from you.
Yeah.
Probably 2 or 3 years ago. Should we bring that in and have you check it out?
Well, you know, this is a great question. We had a customer bring in an external hard drive into Papillion, and through a comedy of errors, that drive ended up going out with the wrong customer. And so we got it back, and we got this woman's pictures and files back, thank heavens. Otherwise, I was about to put out a call on the radio like, whoever has the silver Seagate hard drive, please bring it back. But our customers are great people, and so we got it back pretty easily. But, you know, it was one of those things where, you know, we're human and we make mistakes too, so we tend to not want to check in anything we don't have to check in. So when you check in your computer, we're going to give you that little USB nub back for your mouse. We're not going to keep that, because if we have to take your computer apart, we have to take that out, and then those little nubs get mixed up because they all look the same. They don't work. Your external hard drive, if we're not messing with your backup drive, please don't bring your backup drive in, because we don't need it. Unless we need it, and if we need it, we'll call you. Unless you're saying, hey, my computer won't boot, might have a bad hard drive, so let me bring my backup in. That makes sense. Okay, that's cool. But like this one, what you brought hers in, it was just, I just brought it in because it's where my iTunes are stored. You know, we didn't need it. So we try to reduce the number of things we check in. So you don't have to bring your backup drive in when you bring your computer in to have that solid state replacement done. But like I said, guys, the solid state sale did technically end on January 31st. And so this is definitely the extended grace period. My staff has, I think the exact instructions I gave to my staff are, if you have somebody who comes in tears because they missed it, go ahead and give it to them, but do not offer it anymore. So you have to cry, okay? No, I'll send an email to everybody saying on the radio today, I told everybody that if they came in on February 3rd between noon and 5, that we will still honor the sale, but they must come in on February 3rd between February 4th. The sale's over. To Monday, it's done. So don't come in tomorrow and cry. It won't work. All right. Hey, thank you, Chuck. I appreciate it. 866-496-8772. Craig, you're next up. How can I help you today on Compute This?
Hey, for a fantastic show, fantastic. This is Ron. I learned so much, man. You guys are my great service.
Well, thank you, Craig. I appreciate it.
So, man, I got this company iPhone, and I know they're going to be going to this is an i5.
Oh, wow.
Get a new one here in 6 months or so.
Okay.
And these i5, I tried this used to be with the i4
Not with an iPhone.
put them on the screen in the cloud. I don't want to Walmart to open the cloud at all. That was good.
Sure.
Put it on my computer. Now, the question I have is there's a device made by SanDisk called iXpand.
Mhm.
That darn thing works great. Drop the money for it, please.
Well, I'm not familiar with that exact product, but however, I am familiar with many products made by many companies. For example, Apple has the Time Machine. That's pretty powerful. We have the modular storage device. Seagate has the external hard drive. Western Digital has the MyBook. These are all just external storage devices. And so wherever you choose to save your backup, if you choose to save it in your cloud with like Carbonite, because that Carbonite is technically the cloud, guys. Whenever you hear cloud, to make your head explode a little bit less, just replace the word cloud with the phrase somebody else's computer. So you're going to save your backup on somebody else's computer. That's legit, right? Imagine if we could sell our unused storage space, right, on our hard drives, and if we could rent it out to people to save their backups. Think about how, I should make a cloud-funded product that does that. I think somebody tried to make a cryptocurrency that virtually did that, basically. You could buy this cryptocurrency and you're buying storage on people's hard drives. People were taking their old hard drives and stacking them up in computers and just trying to sell the space. But no, so you're basically just using other people's computers. So in the cloud. Now, if you have an iPhone, you can still keep a local backup of your pictures and photos and whatnot, but you have to do it on your computer and you have to do it through iTunes. So then you shouldn't have an iPhone. That's Apple's position. iTunes is the official, that or the iCloud. You can have your choice. We're good at Apple. We give you choices. You can use our Apple product on your computer or our Apple product in the cloud and nothing else.
Yeah.
You can have it in black or black.
There's a device called an iXpand where you can hook up this thing to your iPhone and then plug it into USB and then
Oh, yeah.
your computer, and they claim it works. I just wondered if you were familiar with it or not.
There's a lot of devices that you can plug into the bottom of an iPhone to get expanded storage, like use it like a flash drive, because the Lightning port on the bottom of your iPhone can function as a USB port. But I would be hesitant to use products like that because Apple doesn't like that. And if Apple doesn't like it, they're very likely to push out an update, maybe that's why this update's taking so long for the fix with the camera thing, over your FaceTime, where people can FaceTime you on the toilet, and you don't even know they're there. Maybe it's taken an extra few days because they're putting out a part of that update that also bricks those devices or stops them from working. So Apple has a tendency to make sure that you use their products in the way that they want you to use them, and they argue that this improves your user experience. If everybody is doing the same thing, now we can make it good for everybody. Unfortunately, iTunes isn't really good for anybody. Nobody I know, enjoys using iTunes. It's not. It's kind of like it's like guys over 40 going to the doctor. It's like you have to do it, but it ain't enjoyable. Okay. So at any rate, that's the long and the short of it, Craig. So appreciate the call there. So to recap, guys, big update coming out for your Apple devices. You've got an Apple iOS update 12.1.4 coming out for your iPhones and your iPads, and it's very important to install it because it's going to patch the FaceTime bug. It should be coming out in a few days. Originally, Apple said it would be out before the end of the week, but I don't know when their weekends. Maybe they meant in a week. I don't know. But Apple, when you want Apple to take their time with stuff, because when they rush things, they blow things up. And this is obviously a rushed update. So they're going to release this new version. You want to get that. If your phone, tablet pops up and says there's an update, do the update. Also, external hard drives all on sale at Schrock, whether you want to go with a mechanical external or the solid state modular storage device, the external with a solid state built into it. They are all half off at Schrock right now for the month of February. That is the big February sale. We have 500 gigabyte and terabyte sizes in stock because those are the most common ones. The solid state ones we will be building on demand. So if you want those, just let us know. We'll be happy to get those for you. Today's winner of the $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate is Craig. Congratulations, you got yourself $25. Ariel will get that out to you from the Lincoln Service Center here before the end of the, well, she'll get it out to you on Monday before the end of the week. I sound like Apple now. Before the end of the week, we'll send it to you when we get to it. All right, stay tuned on Facebook for the After Schrock. Thanks for staying with us, guys, and have a great day. We'll see you next week for another edition of Compute This. All right, if you could drop the speakers. The cool thing is I don't have to like start up a new stream for the Aftershock because we're streaming right now.
There you go.
There we go. All right, so bear with me, guys. If I don't remember to email about Craig here, can you pop the speakers down for me?
Oh, I can.
Thank you. All right, so Ariel. Sunday winner chicken dinner. Craig. If you want to call Craig to congratulate him, his number is 402-250. I'm not going to say the rest. Come on, guys. You think I am? All right. So now the challenge here during the Aftershock, guys, forgive me, I'm on a 4-inch screen. So I see like one comment, maybe a second comment. So stick with me here and I will, thanks, Scott. Just got a text from Scott Voorhees. Thank you. I appreciate that. Said a good show. So I'm going to be looking at my screen on the computer to read your questions. So forgive me if I'm like eyeballs over here instead of eyeballs on the camera. My wife hates that. When she's taking a picture or taking a selfie, she'll hold it up and I'm looking at myself on the screen. She's like, no, you look at the camera because your eyes are off to the side. Look here. Oh, there it is. Hi. Yeah, she's a photographer. She gets upset about that kind of stuff. All right, so what do we got here that we didn't get to? iPhone data row. Now Apple clears Google, Facebook to run private iOS apps again. Okay, this is interesting. Apple is really, this FaceTime bug comes at a really weird time for Apple. They're trying to position themselves as an industry leader in data protection and privacy for their users. If you have an iPhone, your data is safe. We don't want your data, and no one else gets it either. I mean, you're paying $1,200 for the phone. You shouldn't need to make money off my data too, okay? But that's good. Apple's doing their thing. So the FaceTime bug comes at a really inopportune time where Apple's not trying to make money off allowing people to peek at your FaceTime. They're not making money by doing that. They're making money by selling you the device. But this is just an inopportune breach, basically. So they took out a big billboard outside of the CES that was like, what happens on your iPhone stays on your iPhone, the whole bit. So now what happened, though, was not everybody who has an app on your Apple device agreed with that privacy stance. So for those of you who have never developed an app before, it costs about $25 to develop an app for Google, for Android, and anybody can do it at any time. I don't know why it's all blurry all of a sudden. It's kind of like it lost its focus here. There we go. Bring it back. There we go. Wow, that's weird. Anyway, so on Apple, it's way more expensive and a lot harder. When you publish an app on Apple, it can sit for months in the approval process while they work to approve your app. So that's why you'll see sometimes people, the apps for Apple tend to be more refined and more polished because each update takes so long to do. Whereas on Android, you see a little more rough apps and then they rapidly improve over time to become something nice because you can update them very easily. Google, Facebook, big companies, Twitter, that tend to put out lots of apps and they need to put them out quickly. They have what are called enterprise developer licenses with Apple. So this allows them to immediately publish their updates without the approval of Apple's staff. Apple's people don't look at the code to make sure nothing nefarious is happening. Well, it turns out Facebook and Google were both doing very nefarious things as far as collecting data on you when you used your Apple device in violation of Apple's terms of service. But, who's watching? So who cares, right? And so they got caught. And so as a result, Apple actually suspended Google and Facebook's enterprise licenses. They can still publish apps, but they would have to go through the normal review process. There we go. So basically, everything was just stopped. They took away their enterprise license. Well, they've since given it back. Google and Facebook employees can once again use private iOS apps after Apple reinstated the necessary enterprise certificates. The iPhone maker yesterday had yanked the certificates from both companies for misusing them to distribute data-gathering iOS apps to the public. Google and Facebook were caught earlier this week using Apple's Enterprise Developer Program in a way that Apple said was a clear breach of the agreement with Apple. The program is intended for enterprise customers to test and deploy iOS apps among employees without using the app iOS store. After the news broke that Apple had revoked their enterprise certificates, Google shut down its research apps. And so basically everyone said, okay, we're good here. And then Apple said, okay, you're back in now. But it was one of those things where Apple's really trying to position themselves as the final arbiter of data security if you're using an Apple device. New security flaw impacts 5G, 4G, and 3G. I didn't cover this one during the show because no one really has 5G yet, and this was a huge 5G vulnerability. 3G and 4G to a lesser degree. It's going to get patched. This protocol works by negotiating and establishing keys for encrypting the communications between a phone and a cellular network. So I bet you, the old days, original cell phones, the 1G phones were just straight like walkie-talkies. You could get a tuner and you could tune in and listen to people's phone calls. You can't do that anymore. Everything is encrypted end-to-end between your phone and the tower. Well, this was a violation of the breach, basically, that allowed people to intercept your encrypted comms and decrypt them. So, again, not a huge deal right now, but it would have been if everyone would have had 5G. So, like I said, I didn't cover that one. That was kind of my backup story in case I didn't have any calls. All right, new Windows 10 19H1. That sounds like a bird flu, doesn't it? The new Windows build that's coming out in April, its designation is usually it was like all numbers. So I thought it was going to be 1901, but it's 19H1. I think that's what they're calling the build. So it's like it looks like a bird flu thing though. Like the 19H1 Windows build is going to infect you soon. They're going to add more search and more mixed reality tweaks. Microsoft continues to roll out more incremental test builds for its coming April 2019 Windows 10 feature update known as 19H1. Okay, here we go. Build 18329 includes quick access capability for most apps in search. It also adds the ability to launch the Win32 desktop apps like Spotify, Paint.net, and Visual Studio Code in Windows Mixed Reality in the same way users can launch store apps. I'm sorry, I can't read today apparently. So mixed reality is something new on Windows 10. It's one of these new features that not a lot of people are using yet. But at some point, at some day, we're all going to use mixed reality, or it's also called augmented reality, where you have a pair of goggles or things on your head or glasses or whatever, and you see what's around you in the world, but then you've overlaid other things on top of it. So instead of having a computer monitor, you might have these glasses, wireless glasses on your head that allow you to see your computer screen as well as everything around you, but your computer screen is just floating in space. Or if you're in a video game, the video game is all around you. It can be pretty cool. But a lot of the apps are not able to run in mixed reality. So just stuff you can buy in the store would run there. Well, now stuff you run on your desktop apps could run there too. So now I can play Civilization 4, best game ever, on mixed reality. Yay! Because I haven't done that yet. We tried to get a HoloLens for a promotional thing, and Microsoft didn't even respond to us. I wasn't going to spend $1,000 on a HoloLens for a one-time promotional deal. All right, Microsoft made some additional tweaks to other related apps as part of the rollout. An update to Mail and Calendar adds dark mode for mail and calendar items. Dark mode, it's not like a Darth Vader thing. Dark mode, basically, instead of the screen being default white with black text, the screen is default black with white text. It is harder to read, especially for people with visual impairments, but it does use less energy and it's less bright at night. So if you're laying next to your loved one in bed and you're on your laptop, if your screen is like a giant truck headlight, it tends to keep them awake. If you use dark mode, it tends to be less light. Battery lasts longer too. In fact, there was an article we covered a few weeks ago from Google about this. Google's been pushing people to use blue is apparently the most battery intense color, and blue is the most popular tech color as well. So when you use white, it uses a lot of battery because it's pushing it's activating all the LEDs, whereas black doesn't activate them, so you use less battery. And blue requires the activation of more LEDs than anything apparently. Microsoft earlier this week opened up access to the skip ahead ring for testers who want early access to the Windows 10 update known as Vandium or 19H2. It's slated to roll out to mainstream users, blah, 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 blah. All right, so there is a new update for Windows 10 coming. It is going to improve the search functionality, something that needs to be done because the search functionality is a little bit slow. Solid-state hard drives do improve that. It's kind of funny. This week in the shop, one of my techs stopped and looked at me and he goes, "Thor, you know something? Maintenance checkup specials are going to be so much easier now that everybody has these solid-state hard drives. They're going to go so much faster." I'm like, "You're right, they will." Because we don't actually test the surface of your solid-state hard drive like we test your mechanical drives. Because when you access a solid-state hard drive, it reduces its lifespan. So we do the smart test like what Drive Advisor does, but we don't do a surface test because we don't want to wear out your solid state. So it's kind of funny. But it occurred to him, wow, this is going to be great for us later. So it's like everything was focused on the customers. And then on like 2 days before the end of the sale, one of my employees stops and says, hey, this is going to be good for us too. I love my guys. You know, they're not thinking about themselves at all. All right. And then there was another thing that I wanted to chat about today that it's not a huge deal because nobody really uses Edge, the browser Edge, you know, the one that's dying that they're going to replace with Chromium with an Edge wrapper around it. But Microsoft has incorporated like a trust score on news stuff now. So if you go to news sites, basically the website gets a trust or no trust stamp. So, you know, the pillars of journalism out there. And we're talking about the arbiters of what is right and good in the news, like the real. They never touch fake news. They would never publish a story before they have, you know, multiple cited sources that are on the record, not anonymous. You know, they're going to run actual journalism. Sites like, you know, BuzzFeed, for example, pinnacle of journalism. You guys you know that I'm sarcastic, right? I mean, this is sarcasm. BuzzFeed is a joke. BuzzFeed is like the 10 ways you can, the 10 foods you can eat that burn more calories to digest than you get from them. Yay! You know, you can eat cucumbers and carrots all day and lose weight, and your nose turns orange too. So BuzzFeed gets a trusted stamp, not on their website, not up at the top that says this is a trusted news source, but on every single headline, on every single page on their website, which means a website can publish 1,000 true stories and then a completely made up story. You know, like Mueller's about to indict Trump, and Mueller has to come out and say, no, we're not. That's not true. And BuzzFeed's like, we stand behind our reporting. Well, the guy you're reporting about just came out and said it's not true. I don't really care if you stand behind your what? What? And they're trusted. Whereas websites like, the New York Times is trusted. The Washington Post is trusted. Snopes is trusted. Examples of sites that are not trustworthy would be Breitbart, Drudge, pretty much any alt-right or right-leaning website. Judicial Watch is not trustworthy. Judicial Watch is the organization that files all the lawsuits about all the things that people really should know about. Like, you know, the only reason we know what happened in Benghazi is because Judicial Watch filed a bunch of lawsuits for Freedom of Information Acts. And then they filed a FOIA request. The government just ignored it. So then they filed a lawsuit to get them to enforce the FOIA request, which they were supposed to ignore. Anyway, getting all the acronyms and everything now. But the long and the short of it is these trust things, everyone is trying to be the arbiter of what is trustworthy. And it's a very dangerous game to play. Boom! Everything just went down, and we're like, we've been censored. Oh no! KFAB is interrupting your words? No, Art, this is not KFAB. The following opinions are not the opinions of KFAB, iHeartMedia, its advertisers, staff, or anybody else besides this ridiculous guy we put behind the microphone. This is the Schrock Innovations microphone now, as I say that with a KFAB logo behind me. This is not KFAB. This is backwards. BAFK. This is BAFK. It's Bizarro KFAB, right? All right, so all I'm saying is there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. We're all addicted to outrage. And there are some outrageous things going on. And then there's like, what can I do about it? Right? And this is like, I don't know, you can do whatever you want to do, but this is how I'm trying to keep myself sane in today's news era. Can I do anything about it? If I'm outraged about it, will my outrage produce any kind of tangible result for anyone or just make me feel awful all day? You know, I don't live in Virginia. I didn't vote for the Virginia governor. No one cares about my opinion of the Virginia governor, honestly. So the Virginia governor, in my mind, I have my own thoughts about the Virginia governor. And those thoughts, that's my opinion of the man right now. Again, my opinion doesn't matter, so I'm not going to give it. But as you can see, if you go through life like that, if you look at these news stories and you say to yourself, okay, that's outrageous. Like there was there was some situation where some dude got killed in a pizzeria in some country because somebody tweeted out that this guy had kidnapped a girl or something, or raped a girl, and it went viral, and it was a joke. Like, it didn't happen. It was a terrible joke, but it didn't happen. And then they found a bunch of people went on like a posse and got this guy like Wild West style and killed him or beat him up or something. I mean, it's like, addicted to outrage. Just, if something is so outrageous, just take a breath and don't kill people. So, I don't know. Everyone wants to be the arbiter of what's true and what's not true. The brutal truth is that no one is ever going to be able to draw a bright line between what is true and what is not true, because there are so many ways that you can say things in such a way to put a grain of truth in them and have pieces of it not be true. So how do you give a black and white label to something that's half true and half not? For example, Venezuelan elections, right? The European Union says, I know everybody else in the world who's a democratic loving country is behind the Guaido guy and against Maduro, so we're going to give Maduro a week to declare presidential elections, you see. And if he does that, then, we will still recognize him as president. But if he doesn't call for new elections, then we're going to back Guaido. So yesterday, Maduro called for new elections of the National Assembly. Let's vote that dude out. He's not cool. Get him out of here. He didn't call for presidential elections. So did Maduro call for elections as the EU requested? He absolutely did. But did he call for elections as the EU requested? Absolutely not. So is it true? Is it true? So you can go all day long on this kind of stuff where, we're going to build a wall. Is a fence a wall? This is obvious.
Like that, I don't know.
Okay, so I said wall, and the live stream, pew. I'm like, okay, so can't talk about wall either. Don't say wall. Don't say wall or barrier or steel slat or coiled barbed wire on the ground. Just stay away from anything that's brick and mortar or steel related, please. All right, guys. So I got to wrap it up here. So last call for questions. All right. When I got my backup drive at Troc, they said it backs up at 2 a.m. on Sunday, so I still need to keep it plugged in all the time. Carolyn, no, you don't need to keep it plugged in all the time. You can only have it plugged in at 2 a.m. on Sunday. The problem, though, is we set that backup for you. That's the Windows 7 backup that runs at 2 a.m. on Sunday. So that backup is not working anymore. So for that backup, no, you don't need to keep it plugged in all the time because it ain't working. The new backup is the file history backup, and you don't have to keep that plugged in all the time, but it backs up constantly. So when you plug it in, it'll go through and do a backup. I recommend you leave it plugged in all the time, but I know you're running a laptop, and it's kind of weird to have that tethered external hard drive carried around with you everywhere. We did some R&D at Schrock briefly for Wi-Fi connected hard drives. It was a portable hard drive about this big that was on Wi-Fi. It would go on your network, but unfortunately, it would just... it would drop off the network all the time. The Wi-Fi technology wasn't there to support it. All right, guys. I better just wrap it up. The video keeps interrupting here. I'll endeavor to get the Wi-Fi. Scott Voorhees, text me the Wi-Fi password for the studio, please. We're not barbarians. All right. Have a great day, guys. We'll talk to you again next Sunday.